Vatican's darkest secrets: what's still hidden. In the heart of Rome, there's a place that holds more secrets than any intelligence agency on the planet. It's not a spy headquarters or a military bunker. It's a library. But this is no ordinary library. It boasts 53 miles of shelving, holds records stretching back 12 centuries, and for most of its life, the world knew it as the Vatican Secret Archives. In 2019, Pope Francis gave it a facelift, officially renaming it the Vatican Apostolic Archive. The move was meant to quiet the sinister conspiracies that have swirled around it for centuries. The Vatican insists the old Latin name, secretum, just meant private, not secret in the way we think of it today. They claim what they have is a treasure trove for scholars, not a vault of conspiracies. But here's the catch: access is still heavily restricted, and entire sections on modern popes are locked away. It begs the question: what they let the world see isn't the same as what they're still hiding. For centuries, this institution has carefully crafted the official story. We know about the trial of Galileo and letters from kings and queens, all preserved within its walls. But what about the stories they've buried? The questions they refuse to answer? Today, we aren't just revisiting old scandals. We're investigating the secrets that many believe the Vatican is still hiding. We're looking past the official statements to explore the explosive secrets that could rewrite history as we know it. Section 1, Secret Number 5, The Unrevealed Third Secret of Fatima. Our first secret takes us to Portugal, 1917. 3 shepherd children claimed they received a series of prophecies from the Virgin Mary. These became the 3 secrets of Fatima. The first 2, a vision of hell and a prophecy about World War I and the rise of communist Russia, were revealed by the 1940s. But the third secret was different. The last surviving visionary, Sister Lucia dos Santos, wrote it down in 1944 on a single sheet of paper, sealed it, and gave it to a bishop with strict orders: don't open until 1960. The world held its breath. But 1960 came and went. Pope John XXIII read it but refused to make it public, kicking off decades of rampant speculation. Finally, in 2000, Pope John Paul II released the third secret. The Vatican revealed a text describing a bishop dressed in white being shot and killed in a ruined city. They interpreted this as a symbolic vision of the persecution of Christians and the 1981 assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II. Case closed? Not even close. For many, this was the start of an even bigger mystery. Critics cried foul, pointing to huge inconsistencies. The text was a symbolic vision, but insiders and cardinals who had discussed it had always referred to it as containing the words of Our Lady. And what about a key sentence from Sister Lucia's memoirs: in Portugal, the dogma of the faith will always be preserved, etc. It was thought to be the opening of the secret, but it had no connection to the vision of a murdered pope. This has fueled a persistent theory that the Vatican only released part of the secret. Proponents of this theory believe there are 2 documents, the 1-page letter from Sister Lucia with the Virgin Mary's direct words, and a separate text describing the vision. They argue the Vatican released the vision but is still suppressing the letter. The Vatican firmly denies this, stating the complete secret was revealed in 2000. So, what could be in this alleged hidden text? Theories range from prophecies of a great apostasy within the Church to warnings of nuclear war. Those who believe in a cover-up point to the Vatican's strange behavior. Why wait 40 years? And why do recollections from church officials who supposedly read it seem to describe something far more terrifying than what was released? The discrepancies have left a lingering doubt that a single, sealed envelope in the archive holds a prophecy the world was never meant to hear. Section 2, Secret Number 4, the Vatican Bank and the sudden death of Pope John Paul I. Our next secret involves a papacy that lasted just 33 days. In August 1978, Cardinal Albino Luciani became Pope John Paul I. Known as the Smiling Pope, he was a breath of fresh air, a man of humility who wanted to bring transparency to the Church. But on September 28, 1978, he was found dead in his bed. The Vatican's official cause of death, a heart attack. Right away, the official story started to look shaky. The Vatican first claimed a male secretary found the Pope, but it was later revealed to be a nun. They allegedly changed the detail to avoid the unseemliness of a woman finding the Pope alone in his chambers. Then, items started to go missing: the Pope's glasses, his slippers, and the personal notes he was reportedly reviewing just before he died. They were never seen again. And, most controversially, no autopsy was ever performed, a decision that poured fuel on the fire of speculation. This is where the story gets dark, leading straight to the Vatican Bank. At the time, the bank was tangled up with a fraudulent Italian bank, Banco Ambrosiano, run by a man named Roberto Calvi, also known as God's banker. Calvi had close ties to both the Vatican and the Mafia. The head of the Vatican Bank was the controversial American Archbishop, Paul Marcinkus. The most famous theory, detailed in the book In God's Name, is that Pope John Paul I had uncovered massive corruption and money laundering. The notes he was reviewing on the night of his death were allegedly a list of officials, including Marcinkus, whom he planned to fire in a radical cleanup of the Vatican's finances. His death, right before he could act, was incredibly convenient for those with everything to lose. Was the smiling Pope murdered? Was he silenced? The Vatican calls these claims baseless conspiracy theories. But the events that followed are chilling. Roberto Calvi, God's banker, was later found hanging under Blackfriars Bridge in London in 1982, his death ruled a murder. Archbishop Marcinkus was indicted by Italian authorities but remained at the Vatican Bank for another decade, protected by Vatican immunity. The documents that could settle this, the Pope's missing notes, internal bank reports from 1978, would be locked deep within the Apostolic Archive. Until they're released, the death of Pope John Paul I remains one of the most disturbing mysteries in modern Vatican history. Section 3, Secret Number 3, Pope Pius XII and the full extent of his silence. What did the Pope know, and when did he know it? This question lies at the heart of one of the most painful chapters in the Church's history, the role of Pope Pius XII during the Holocaust. For decades, the Vatican has insisted that Pius worked quietly behind the scenes to save Jews, arguing that publicly denouncing the Nazis would have triggered even worse retaliation. Critics, however, have condemned him for his public silence, calling it a moral failure. For over 60 years, the full archives of his papacy, 1939 to 1958, were sealed, leaving historians in the dark. That all changed in March 2020, when Pope Francis ordered them opened. What researchers have started to find is explosive. Almost immediately, scholars found documents that challenged the Vatican's official story. One key discovery was a memo from a Vatican official advising against believing reports of mass extermination, dismissing them as a probable Jewish exaggeration. Even more damning, newly found letters show that Pius XII received credible, detailed information about Nazi death camps from his own trusted sources inside Germany. A letter from a German Jesuit priest, part of an anti-Hitler resistance group, dated December 14, 1942, informed the Pope's secretary that up to 6,000 Jews and Poles were being gassed daily in occupied Poland. This report came from a source the Vatican trusted. Yet, when the US government later asked the Vatican if it could confirm reports of Nazi atrocities, the Holy See said it was unable to, citing the advice that the claims were exaggerated. These discoveries suggest Pius XII's silence wasn't from a lack of information, but a conscious choice. The question now is why? Was it driven by anti-Semitism within the Curia? Was it a cold political calculation, prioritizing the fight against communism over confronting Nazism? Or was it fear of splitting the German Catholic Church? While the newly opened files have shed some light, they've also raised more questions. Researchers note that the archives from this era are vast and disorganized, making it unclear if the key documents are still hidden or uncatalogued. The files that could reveal the truth about the so-called Ratline's post-war escape routes for Nazi officials, allegedly run with some clerical help, are what historians are desperately hunting for. These documents could finally settle the debate: was Pope Pius XII a cautious diplomat saving lives in secret, or was he, as critics claim, Hitler's Pope? CTA These are just a few of the secrets swirling around the Vatican's massive archives. It seems every document they release just opens a new Pandora's box. Which secret do you find the most shocking? Is there another Vatican mystery you think deserves the spotlight? Let us know in the comments. Section 4, Secret Number 2, The Lost Gospels and Biblical Apocrypha. For centuries, the Catholic Church has decided which texts were divinely inspired and which weren't. But what about the texts that were left out? These are the so-called apocryphal Gospels, the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Mary, the Gospel of Judas, texts that offer radically different views on Jesus and his teachings. Most of these known texts exist only in fragments. But the Vatican Apostolic Archive and the Vatican Library hold some of the world's oldest biblical manuscripts. This has fueled one of the most profound conspiracy theories out there, that the Vatican has complete, or at least more complete, versions of these suppressed Gospels, or maybe even Gospels no one has ever seen. The Church's official line is that these texts were rejected because they were heretical, historically unreliable, or just didn't align with established doctrine. For instance, some Gnostic Gospels portray Jesus not as a divine savior, but as a mystical teacher of secret knowledge. Others, like the Gospel of Philip, have been interpreted as suggesting Jesus and Mary Magdalene were married, a concept that would challenge the Church's teachings on clerical celibacy and its patriarchal structure. Is it possible that the vaults in Rome hold a gospel describing Jesus' lost years, perhaps traveling to India? Is there a manuscript out there that paints him not as the Son of God, but as a political revolutionary or a simple human philosopher? The discovery of even one such document would be world-shattering. It could challenge the divinity of Christ and the authority of the Church itself. While many experts dismiss this as pure fantasy, history is often written by the winners. Just recently, a researcher using advanced imaging found a hidden chapter of a Gospel translation on a recycled piece of parchment in the Vatican Library. It was a small fragment of a Syriac translation of Matthew, offering a subtly different version of a known passage. If a tiny fragment can stay hidden in plain sight for 1,500 years, what else might be lying uncatalogued on those 53 miles of shelves? The remote possibility that the Vatican is sitting on a document that could alter the understanding of its own founder is perhaps the most tantalizing secret of all. Section 5, Secret Number 1, The True Fate of the Knights Templar. Our final secret involves crusading knights, immense wealth, and accusations of heresy. The Knights Templar were a powerful Catholic military order founded in the 12th century. Over 200 years, they became one of the most powerful institutions in Europe, creating an early form of international banking and owning huge tracts of land. But their power made them enemies. In 1307, King Philip IV of France, who was deeply in their debt, had Templars across France arrested and tortured into making false confessions of heresy and devil worship. Pressured by the king, Pope Clement V officially disbanded the order in 1312, and the last Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, was burned at the stake. For 700 years, the official story was that the Templars were heretics, and the Pope had acted to purify the Church. Then, in 2001, a Vatican researcher named Barbara Frale made a stunning discovery. Misfiled in a box was a document lost for centuries, the Chinon Parchment. It was the official record of the papal investigation into the Templars from 1308. And it revealed something incredible: Pope Clement V had secretly absolved the Templar leaders of heresy. He knew they were innocent of the worst charges but was too politically weak to stand up to King Philip. He suppressed the order not for heresy, but for the bad habits that had tarnished its name, essentially sacrificing the knights to appease a king. This discovery completely changed the Templars' legacy. But it also proved that the Vatican is capable of hiding a monumental truth for 7 centuries. This begs a much more exciting question: is the Chinon parchment the only Templar secret in the archives? The Templars were bankers. Their records would have detailed the finances of every royal house in Europe. What happened to their legendary treasure and vast archives? Many believe they hid their wealth and records before they were attacked. Could some of those records have eventually made their way to the one place that could guarantee their safety, the Vatican? If the Vatican archives hold the complete financial ledgers of the Knights Templar, it would be a roadmap to the hidden wealth of medieval Europe. It could reveal the true extent of King Philip's desperation and the Pope's maneuvering. More importantly, it would prove what many have long suspected: the destruction of the most powerful military order in Christendom wasn't an act of faith, but one of the greatest corporate raids in history. The full story of what the Pope hid may still be waiting on a forgotten shelf. 53 miles of history. From prophecies that could shake a faith to the financial records of a fallen order, the Vatican Apostolic Archive is more than just a collection of paper. It's proof of the immense power that comes with controlling the story. For every secret revealed, like the innocence of the Knights Templar, new questions pop up. The opening of Pius XII's archives has only deepened the controversy. The official story of Fatima has holes big enough to drive a truck through, suggesting a more frightening truth is still out there. And the ghosts of lost gospels and potential assassinations continue to haunt the halls of the world's smallest state. The Vatican might have changed the name from secret to apostolic, but that changes nothing. It's still a private institution, the gatekeeper of its own history, deciding what we can know and what must stay locked away. The darkest truths, those that could rewrite everything we think we know about history, power, and faith, remain buried. For now, they're hidden in plain sight, protected by time, tradition, and the unyielding silence of the vault.